Who's not coming down the track? Who's not coming down the track? It's a Nemo Street in red and white. Nemo Street in red and white. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Ain't nothing finer in the land. When the drums are marching straight to bed. Come on, come on.
What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. We are joined by nobody tonight,
Mm.
and that is not the fault of Auburn or the guy that was supposed to come on and talk to us. Getting the flu is not something that you can necessarily help.
I mean, are we sure that's not Auburn's fault?
No, I'm going to say it's not our guest's fault for sure.
Yeah, oh no, not his fault at all.
But do you know who I'm going to blame?
Yeah, please let me know.
It's Gus Malzahn's fault. Because have we ever had a guest back out on us for being sick in late November? Have we ever
No.
not been able to record for over a week because of a hurricane in late November?
We sure haven't.
Nope. And something's always come up the week of Auburn, whether it is hurricane, sickness, what something's always come up because Gus Malzahn complained enough that he got the game moved from late November to mid-October. And what does he do almost immediately afterwards?
He leaves.
He gets fired.
Yep.
The coach in the SEC with the only close to winning record against Nick Saban.
Yep.
Gets fired.
By the way, I know that he probably cared more about beating Alabama when he whined about that than he did about beating Georgia. But I do have to ask, how many times has Auburn beaten Georgia since this game got moved to October?
Zero.
Absolutely worth mentioning.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's frustrating. And so, if y'all want to learn anything about Auburn, Fly War Eagle, go check out Brian Stoltz. He's great. He, short notice kind of was willing to come on and talk to us, and he was excited about it. We texted back and forth quite a bit, and he just got sick. Can't help that. So, No, absolutely no hard feelings towards Brian. He is committed to coming on and talking to us next year, unless, an act of God prevents us from having an Auburn interview for the 5th season in a row.
It's very possible.
Because
you never know.
I don't know if God loves Auburn and doesn't want us to talk about him, or if God hates Auburn and doesn't want us to talk about him.
Either way, he clearly doesn't want us to talk about them.
We have had more Vanderbilt guests than Auburn.
Right. What a world we live in.
It's kind of wild, but no, we are super excited. We got the watch party this Saturday at the Rock House on Tybee during Pirates Fest. And if you're planning on coming out, making the trip to Tybee, check out the Facebook page, Tybee Island Pirates Fest, for the parking, road closure, shuttle information. Because I'm pretty sure with the friends we have coming in town, I am pretty sure that we are getting there kind of later. We are parking at the north end of the island, taking a shuttle down. So there are plenty of options for parking and getting a ride to the watch party. I will say, definitely if you're coming, bring it up on Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps if you want to end up in China, whatever you plan on doing, because we will not have the Georgia inflatable on the roof. It's supposed to be wind gusts of almost 50 miles an hour on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not plan on having to chase the Georgia inflatable down the beach. So it's not going up. But we are going to have our t-shirts, stickers, koozies, buttons. We are doing multiple games. We are doing trivia for a Michelob Ultra golf bag is what the trivia is for. So if you play golf, come hang out, play. It's going to be mostly Georgia stuff, maybe a couple general college football questions. drink specials. I'm missing stuff because we got a ton going on this weekend, but it'll be a great time. Oh, we have our very own Jolly Roger making its debut on
Let's
Saturday.
go. This
We
this
do.
flag that's behind me, that's completely digital and not real at all. There's a real one now.
There is a very real one, and eventually I will shout this company out on Etsy because I ordered it and I was like, maybe it might be here in time. And I sent them an email and told them kind of the situation, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry, we got you, fam." And
Love
it
it.
showed up on Monday when the initial estimate was it was going to be here Friday or Saturday.
Wow.
So yeah, no, they were absolutely killer. We got some stickers with a new logo coming in. Super excited. We're doing it big. It's gonna be a phenomenal time. It really
Yeah.
will.
And what a fun coincidence it turned out to be with this logo change.
Yes. It it really was, and I know I've talked about this every time we brought it up, but it was kind of like the new logo's a brainchild between you, Mike, and I of like, hey, kind of want to get away from a logo from a few years ago.
Hmm.
Let's like, what do we embody as a podcast of what we do different than other people? And it was we drink, we cuss, we talk trash, and that's kind of how we came up with the Jolly Roger idea.
Hmm.
And it just happened that we are doing a watch party on Pirates Fest. And this will be the first Pirates Fest since I moved to Savannah that will not be the weekend of a home game for Georgia. So this will be the first one that I'm going to.
Love it.
It will be a ton of fun. We've got a great weekend of college football.
Hmm.
I've got 4 games in the multi-view right now. I almost missed doing an episode tonight, period, to go to the Georgia Southern game, and they are currently down 14-7 um, because Southern Miss just kicked that field goal. So might be a good thing I didn't go to that one.
Could be.
Um, but from last night around 7:30 until Saturday, Hawaii and Utah State kicking off at midnight Eastern. Just
Wow.
an insane weekend. And ESPN's calling it an 11:59 kickoff, so they don't have to put it on Sunday because the NFL gets mad at Sunday kickoffs. What? Who cares?
Who cares?
And chances are, I would much rather watch Hawaii and Utah State on Sunday than whoever the NFL. The Browns, give me any college game, D1, D2, D3, NAIA. I don't care over watching the Browns attempt to play football.
Right. Could not agree with you anymore if I tried.
But how you been? What are you drinking?
I have been good. Not getting a lot of sleep lately, but that's okay. Because I am still working through my big pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade. I should run out on Sunday during the podcast. Hopefully, I won't need to completely down it after the game. So,
Yeah.
how are you?
Good. This is the first complete round of disc golf today that I've been able to play in probably a month.
Nice.
Just based on schedule and injuries. It was a tournament. I came in third.
Okay.
They only paid out first and second,
Oh no.
and I got in third by 1 stroke. So
Oh gosh.
I did get a CTP though. So I made my money back, kind
There
of
we
thing.
go.
But I'm drinking a Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered. Let me see if I can tell y'all when this one's from, because it's definitely a couple of years old. February of 2022.
Mm.
Um, I haven't bought a bottle of whiskey and I can't even tell you how long. So I'm just trying to finish up on what I got in the cabinet. The last bottle I did buy, I think I talked about it. Jack Daniel's Rye barrel proof single barrel. It's 151 proof. So that is 75 and a half
I've
percent alcohol.
wild.
And if y'all have listened to the podcast for a while, you know I love my whiskey. You know that I drink it neat. Um, I can't do that one. I can't. Like I got to put a splash of water in there and proof it down a little bit because I like whiskey, not gasoline. And even if it tastes good, it still hurts a lot. And that's not fun.
Right.
Um so just full transparency here, guys. This is not going to be necessarily the same type of episode we normally have on Thursdays where we go through game picks and we go through our full stat breakdown of each and every game. We were going to do an interview tonight. That interview obviously didn't happen with Brian getting sick. So we don't have our full, all of it behind us, but we're going to do our best to break down each and every game that we're talking about with what we have in front of us and with what we can remember. So if a stat is a couple of numbers off, please forgive us this week. It's Auburn week. Really don't know what else y'all want us to say. Last week you didn't even get an episode because Helene made sure that no one had power. So we are doing what we can with the circumstance. But the first game we're going to talk about, Bama at Mizzou. And as of the time of writing this, Bama was 3-point road favorite, over under 51 and a half. And I'll be honest, I really want to pick Mizzou in this one. I know that sounds crazy. I know it does. But so here's the thing. You go to rushing offense. And Mizzou is, I want to say, leading the SEC in total rushing yards per game. Uh, Ahmad Hardy is just absolutely insane. He's played one less game than most of the SEC because of their bye week situation, and is still leading the country in rushing by over 30 yards. Missouri is third in the country, first in the SEC in rushing yards per game. They are averaging 292 rushing yards per game.
That's a high number.
That's insane. And if there's one thing Georgia did well against Alabama, it's consistently run the ball.
Yeah.
With a beat down, broken, abused offensive line. So Missouri, with no offensive line injuries, the best running back in the SEC, potentially the country, because Jeremiah Love has not lived up to near what Ahmad Hardy has. And Bo Perbula at quarterback, who can run the ball and rip a deep ball just as good, if not better than anybody in the SEC right now. Why do we think that Alabama's going to be able to stop them? And I love Mizzou's offense. I have questions about their defense. And Damon Wilson, I talked about him last year. If you've been around since right before the season last year, he was one of my breakout candidates. He did break out just on a different team. Disappointing. But Mizzou is technically second in the country in total offense. They've played a whopping nobody so far. They've played nobody with a heartbeat on offense. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot. My concern with Mizzou is that they haven't played anybody, and the secondary is not going to know what to do when it comes to Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, the true freshman that I cannot remember his name that torched everybody so far this season. Ty Simpson is top 3 quarterback in the SEC right now. As painful as that is to admit.
Yeah.
Man, I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think 3 points is right on the money. It's painful to say that because I would love for Mizzou to win this one. You know what? Let's go.
Oh.
Let's go Mizzou. We're playing.
All right.
We're seeing Como's naked. We are seeing Como's naked. Bo Perbula is going to show James Franklin why he should have been kept instead of Drew Aller. You know what? Bold prediction. Bo Perbula is going to call out James Franklin as he's getting carried off the field in a field rush after beating Alabama. Mizzou's finally going to get the respect they deserve and be inside of the top 10. nationally undeniable Mizzou. They are
And
beating Alabama at home this weekend.
I wouldn't hate it. I definitely wouldn't hate it. I will add some context to the Mizzou rushing numbers. That insanely high rushing yards average is bolstered by their game against Louisiana Lafayette, in which they rushed for 427 yards.
But it's
Uh,
also like they've been stupid good at running the football outside of that game.
yeah, I mean you're not wrong. They have been averaging a lot of yards per carry. They have a very high offensive success rate, which is good. There are a lot of reasons to like Missouri. I wouldn't say it's gonna. I wouldn't say it would surprise me if they won this game. I think Missouri, as always, is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. I just they haven't, as you have said, played a whole lot of competition that makes me trust that they can win a game like this, and Alabama has a couple of times now. So I do have to go with Alabama. But again, Missouri is not Georgia and is at home. So it would not surprise me at all to see Alabama mess this game up, Missouri to take advantage and win it.
All right, spin zone for Missouri here. Missouri hasn't played anybody. They have no injuries.
Ooh, that's true.
So, you know, and I cannot remember the guy's name right now, but he transferred to Mizzou, I want to say from Mississippi State. Phenomenal wide receiver. Cannot think of his name right now. I'm gonna try and look it up. Normally, this is the thing that we would have. Uh, but like, so we've talked about the rushing game. The passing game is no slouch in itself. Bo Perbula is at 75.9% completion percentage, 1,203 yards, 9 touchdowns. He does have 3 interceptions against that lesser competition, but wide receivers, Kevin Coleman. That's the name I was looking for. I want to say Keon Coleman so bad, but he
Yeah,
plays for the
but
Bills.
right.
Kevin Coleman Jr., he's a phenomenal wide receiver out of the portal Missouri got. So I think it's one of those things of where Missouri, due to how good they are at running the football, is able to bait Alabama into putting 8, 9 guys in the box. And then, deep slant to Kevin Coleman for 30, or Bo Perbula gets outside of the pocket, little scramble drill, looking like Patrick Mahomes before their defense was terrible and their offensive line was looking like Georgia's. No, even though my helmet schedule at the beginning of the season said Mizzou was going to go like 5-7, I have learned very quickly that Drink is one of the few coaches in the SEC that you can rely on year in and year out because he
Right.
evaluates talent like few others.
Right. Very true.
So I'm going to stick with my Mizzou wins this game pick.
All right.
Um,
Bold. I like it.
Now, it might be a 1 point win with a 58-yard walk-off field goal. They win.
But a win is a win. It don't matter to Mizzou.
All right, so the next game we're talking about Oklahoma versus Texas. The Red River rivalry used to be the shootout until shootout got, done away with. And according to the halftime report on one of the games on the YouTube multi-view here, John Mateer was just upgraded to probable for this
Ooh.
game.
Wonder how that's going to affect the spread you've got listed here.
I was about to pull that up because I do have my bookie pulled up on another web page here. But we will forego the spread and over under until I can get that pulled up. This is a very interesting game. Texas has been favored since the line came out in this one. A lot of that is due to John Mateer having surgery on his thumb. I also think a good amount of that is due to Texas defense once again being overrated.
Yeah. They
played,
did just let Florida beat them and almost put up 30 on them. So overrated is a good word for that.
So I don't want to overplay this here. Florida put up more than 30 points in one game this season, and it was against Long Island.
Yep.
The only other game that they have scored more than 24 was against this allegedly elite Texas defense. I know that the numbers for Texas say that they are an elite defense, but I also know that Texas has yet to win a game against power conference competition so far this year. I
Mm-hmm.
also know that last year Texas played 4 teams with a winning record, lost 3 of those games, and allowed an average of 20, I believe, 7 points per game in those. And that was before they lost 3 defensive linemen. So Texas is currently 1-point underdogs in this one with the John Mateer news. Oklahoma 1-point favorite, over under 45 points. And I will say, very interesting. Neither side money line is plus odds. You have Oklahoma plus minus 116, Texas minus 105.
Mm.
So, for what it's worth, Vegas says that both teams have an equal shot at winning this one. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
For what it is worth, I think that Ben Arbuckle is not as good as an offensive play caller as Steve Sarkisian. But I also think that Steve Sarkisian has been helped by above average wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback play. And I understand that Quinn Ewers wasn't that good last year, but with the level of offensive line he had around him, and I completely understand what the mainstream media wants you to believe about that offensive line. I've watched a Georgia team that struggled to get sacks against anybody dominate that offensive line for 9 quarters. So I don't care.
And like Dalen Everett came a couple times on a corner blitz. The rest of it was defensive lineman Jalen Walker.
Yep.
Just eating them alive.
So I don't care what ESPN, Fox Sports, I don't care what they tell you. Last year, Texas offensive line was a hindrance to that team. I don't think Texas offense is good.
No.
I think that offense is currently, can Ryan Wingo get so open that Arch Manning doesn't mess it up? And that is it. That is what they have on offense. Meanwhile, Oklahoma finally is playing Jaden Ott when somebody else owns him in our fantasy league, and I can't pick him up anymore after I drafted him. John Mateer is a I think he is a more significant scrambling threat than Arch Manning right now. I think he is a better passer than Arch Manning right now. I think he has better wide receivers than Arch Manning right now. I think he has better offensive line than Arch Manning right now. And I don't know enough about the tight ends of either team to say, but I know that Texas doesn't have Gunnar Helm. And that was the only tight end off of a team that made it to the semifinals last year that anybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say they don't have a whole lot behind Gunnar Helm if that's the only guy that anybody knows. Because even when Brock Bowers was on Georgia's team, Oscar Delp was known nationally, right?
Yeah. You knew Oscar Delp. You knew Darnell Washington. You knew John Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. So I'm going to say they don't have a whole lot at tight end. So I think Oklahoma is better top to bottom on the offense. When it comes to the defensive side of the ball, we've seen Texas give up almost 30 points to Florida.
Yep.
USF didn't do that. Miami didn't do that. LSU didn't do that. The only team that did that was Long Island, who they left their best defensive players in Long Island because they were scared Jim McElwain was still in Gainesville. They were like, we're Sharks. We ain't coming. We are staying home. We're not doing this. I'm not impressed with Florida's offense. They looked bad, but they made Texas look worse.
Yeah.
Defensively. If a Florida offensive line that couldn't block me in the first 4 weeks of the season stops your defensive line, they're not good. If Florida wide receivers that couldn't get separation on me the first 4 weeks of the season are suddenly wide open to the point that you don't see a defender on the screen and DJ Lagway still misses that pass, you're not good. If Billy
Mm-hmm.
Napier makes your defense look stupid with his play calling, you're not good.
Yeah.
I with John Mateer in this game, Oklahoma wins by two possessions.
Oh, that's generous.
The guy, and I think that's because they get like in the second half they go into like they turtle up, run the ball only, too high
Yeah.
safety. We're not rushing the passer. Like I think Oklahoma absolutely dominates this game. I think the crowd's almost entirely red by the fourth quarter. The Burnt Orange is headed back to Austin to watch Austin FC because
Mm.
they've given up on football by the time the third quarter's over.
Yeah. Hot take. Michael Hawkins Jr. gets into this game not because John Mateer re-aggravates the injury, but because Texas is just getting blown out.
Ooh, I like it.
I
I
think
like it.
I think we're gonna see like a 4 touchdown game by halftime. I don't see a world where this Texas defense can stop this Oklahoma offense, and I don't see a world where this Texas offense can get anything going against this Oklahoma defense. Like I'm wondering if we're gonna see another 10 sack game. It's that bad. Texas is gonna have to prove me wrong, but right now they look like Kentucky, so I can't pick anything but a blowout in this game.
You know why Texas does not look like Kentucky?
Tell me why.
Because Ole Miss is a better team than Texas, and Kentucky scored 23 points against that team.
That's true. That's fair. Kentucky does have a better quarterback than Texas too. I'll acknowledge that.
But yeah, and so if y'all are just listening in the middle of the season, we were so high on Texas
Yeah.
because their defense outside of the Georgia games and the Ohio State game was elite last year. Their offensive line was okay, but
Yeah.
they returned three guys. They were returning one of the highest rated quarterback recruits of all time that had sat for 3 years with one of the best offensive minds in the country. We
Yeah.
were,
A
I
couple
want
of
to
us picked
say,
them to go 8-4. One of us picked them to go 9-3. None of us thought they'd be bad
I
by
think,
any stretch of the imagination. I think we just thought their schedule was going to make them lose a few games.
I think what all three of us had them in our top three preseason because we
Mm-hmm.
were like, you know what, Arch is the only question, and he's a phenomenal recruit that's sat for 3 years to learn. He's
Yeah.
got to be good.
What are the odds that guy busts with his pedigree and with the way
Yeah.
people have seen him play? What are the odds he's a bust?
Apparently, we should have bet on those odds
Yeah,
because,
we would have
yeah,
made a significant amount of money on them
right.
for sure.
Like we're not anti-Texas when it comes to the players. We're anti-Texas when it comes to the fans, not the players. But we're
Yes,
not
very much so.
anti-Texas when it comes to the players. We just can't trust them with what we've seen this year. When when you have that close of a game against, I think it was UTEP in week 3 when Georgia was in an overtime game in Knoxville, and you were tied going into halftime with Arch just throwing an interception in the end zone. I was like, you know what? Maybe Texas does just suck.
Yeah,
And it took me that long. Um, but speaking of does just suck, Florida.
yeah,
At
they do, they do.
They really do. At Texas A&M, A&M, when we wrote this, 7.5 point favorite, over under 46.5. And I will say, we all, before we started looking into it more, thought this game was going to be interesting. And then the main reason that I no longer think this game is going to be interesting, let me just say it out loud. Florida has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Florida has 11 players on the availability report, 6 out, 5 questionable.
Now, what did we say about Florida in the preseason with regard to injuries?
They were one significant injury from 4-8.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, would you like to know how many A&M players are on the availability report? Take a wild guess because you probably won't get it right.
Yeah, let's see. Based on the setup here, let me take a shot and say 3.
It's 3.
Oh, shoot. Okay, what do I win?
That I don't hang up the Zoom call.
Very
So
gracious of you.
their best linebacker, he's probable on the availability report.
Okay, so
So pretty much non-factor here.
yeah, probably gonna play. Yeah,
They have a safety listed as questionable, probably going to play.
yeah.
Out is a tight end that I've never heard of, and I've watched almost every A&M game this year. So
They're not going to be
A&M,
affected hardly at all.
nah, they're not. And to be fair, Florida has gotten a couple players off of the availability report because they did have 14 as of yesterday. I don't think it matters.
No.
Texas A&M, while they are inefficient on offense, they're explosive. That's kind of the difference there. Is they might have gone 17-37 at Notre Dame, but they completed 17 passes for 370 yards. They have a four-headed monster in the backfield, including their quarterback. They have arguably the best offensive line in the SEC right now. They have two of the best wide receivers, the two best statistically wide receivers in the SEC right now. I don't think that A&M is the best team in the SEC. I don't think that A&M has what it takes to beat probably 4 or 5 teams in the SEC right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy Napier also has never won in a night game outside of the Swamp.
Oh, okay.
Billy Napier has only won, I believe, 5 total games outside of the Swamp. None of those against teams with a winning record. None of
Yeah.
those against ranked teams. And none of those in front of 108,000 people that think they finally, for the first time in 70 years, have a chance to be relevant. A&M wins this one huge. I think that Mississippi State has a better offense than Florida. Mississippi State didn't score a touchdown in College Station last week. A&M embarrasses Florida to the point that they tarmac Billy Napier before Georgia gets a chance to.
Wow. I would hate that just because I would really prefer uh, Georgia get that chance.
He fits in so well in Jacksonville.
Right. I was just doing some fact checking on what you said. He has won 3 games, or 4 games rather, that what I can look at away from 4 or 5 away from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. But like you said, the only one I could find that I thought might have been a top highly ranked matchup was Texas A&M back in 2022, and Texas A&M was like 3-6 at the time.
They finished 5-7. Yep.
Yeah, so not great there.
No.
I will say, I was thinking about last season, and I thought about how last season Florida got a big win against a top 10 team at home when it looked like Billy Napier might be on his way out, and they didn't lose another game that season. Then I looked at the actual schedule and what those games were and realized, oh, it was just a game at 2-10 Florida State and a bowl game against Tulane.
Uh-huh.
So never mind on
Mm-hmm.
that point. I was trying to make things a little more interesting here. Texas A&M is going to win this game, aren't they? Like Sunbelt Billy, I don't think has the stones to do what he did last week again away from home in such a raucous environment that really, really wants Texas A&M to be a playoff team. I don't think Texas A&M is going to be a playoff team, but they're winning this game, and they're probably winning it by a lot.
Yeah, I really want to know. There are quite a few college football teams within, I would say, a 2-hour ride of College Station. where do you think Billy hitchhikes to get his next job once he gets left in College Station? Because and I mean this truly just based on my knowledge of the area. Rice, Houston, Texas State, Texas. There's four within a 2 hour ride of College Station. Maybe three, depending on back roads and traffic, because College Station is northwest of Houston,
Mm.
and Austin and Texas State are both like, if you're looking at a clock for all my geographically struggling people, if 12 o'clock is straight north, they're at like 12:05 from
Yeah.
Houston. So
You know what else is in Houston? That's my prediction. The Owls.
well, I said Rice.
Oh, you did say Rice. I'm sorry. My brain. I was so busy looking up schools in the area. I didn't hear the ones you mentioned.
No,
I was
because
wondering if he's gonna go back to his old stomping grounds, but even that's 5 hours away from College Station. So
so when we went to the F1 race in, was it 2022, 2023? I don't remember. But when we went to that race, we were staying in New Braunfels, and we drove from Houston to New Braunfels. So we drove past Houston, Rice, and Texas State, and Texas to get from the airport to our Airbnb to where the shuttle picked us up to go to the race. And Texas State and Rice were playing that Saturday, and I
oh
truly thought about getting the cheapest tickets possible instead of
yeah,
going
why
to
not?
qualifying. But
I will say Lafayette, Louisiana is pretty much positioned directly between College Station and Gainesville.
do you think Billy knows how to skydive?
Uh, he'll probably have to learn.
Or at airliner height, that would be halo, high altitude, low opening, or hey ho. Anyways, high altitude, oxygen mask, the whole thing. I
Mm,
highly doubt he's qualified for that. So
almost certainly not.
all right, y'all. The last game we're talking about, Georgia at Auburn. When I wrote this, it was Georgia minus 3.5, over under 46. And this game is quite a conundrum for me,
Yeah,
because while Georgia I think is significantly better than Auburn, the problem is the things that Georgia is not good at is what Auburn struggles at. The things that Georgia struggles at, Auburn is good at,
I noticed that too.
and I don't like it.
Yeah, you get the strength on strength of Georgia's great rushing attack against Auburn's great front seven. You get the weakness on weakness of bad pass protection from Auburn against a bad pass rush from Georgia.
Yeah, so to put some numbers behind this, because this is the one thing that we do have numbers for. Auburn is dead last in the country in sacks allowed. Dead last.
Mm.
136 nationally. As far as getting sacks, Georgia has one from the defensive line. And as far as total, Georgia is at 118 in the
Oof.
country of total sacks. So not good.
No.
Uh, at at running the football, Georgia's phenomenal. Auburn's 17th at stopping the run. They are 12th in
Granted,
sacks.
I was about to say though, I don't know that they've played a super dynamic rushing offense yet, but still, it's impressive through this many games.
Yeah, they're 12th in nationally in sacks, 20th in tackles for loss. So does it mean quite a bit that Georgia has Monroe Freeling and Ernest Green listed as, the last I checked, questionable? But I've got it pulled up on my phone here so I can just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Monroe Freeling and Ernest Green listed as questionable. So they have potential to play in this game. Does it make me feel better? Barely. If we're
Right.
being entirely honest, it's not like they've been great this year.
Yeah. We're still holding a O line together with bubble wrap and scotch tape,
And
regardless.
hope,
Yes.
a lot of hope. It, and Georgia also is in the 80s in uh, passing defense. Meanwhile, they have Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, and Jackson Arnold. One of the few things that he does well outside of running the football is rip a deep ball,
Yeah.
which Georgia's been very susceptible to so far this year. Um, I just, man, like I have confidence in this game in two things: that Auburn has played a single team with a quarterback that can run the football. They lost that game,
Hmm.
and that quarterback was not near as good at running the football as Gunnar Stockton.
Very true.
And then I go to the other side of the quarterback situation for Georgia, and there's one offense that I would say I absolutely positively take this quarterback over Gunnar Stockton when it comes to throwing the football that Auburn has played this year. And while Auburn did beat Baylor, they allowed almost 400 yards passing.
Yeah.
And specifically, the tight end position for Baylor, Michael Trigg, who is he is closer to Brock Bowers than he is John Fitzpatrick, if you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Um, tore up Auburn's defense. And Auburn's secondary is awful. 82nd in passing defense, right around where Georgia's is. Not good, right?
Hmm.
And to be fair, Georgia's does kind of maintain the same level when it goes to power competition and opponents with the winning record and ranked opponents and all that sort of thing. Auburn's does drop to 106 when it goes to ranked or power competition. So like their defense does get worse. But I haven't seen something that convinces me that Georgia's wide receivers are going to run routes deep outside of Dylan Bell and Colby Young. Zachariah Branch, love the guy. Think he is one of the most explosive players on the team. Can you remember off the top of your head how many times he has caught a ball past 10 yards down past the line of scrimmage? Because I don't
Not.
remember any.
Yeah. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
So if there's a game to get Zachariah Branch involved downfield, it would be against one of the worst secondaries in the country. And that's what I hope. I know I said it on Sunday, Elias Williams, tight end, I don't care if the kid is 18 years old. I don't care if he's only been on campus since August, which I don't know if that's true or not. Just saying I don't care even if that is the case. He is the most explosive tight end on the team right now. He may not block as well as Oscar or Lawson. He may not know the offense as well. He may not run as clean of routes. Put him out on the field against a team that can't cover a tight end. When it comes to the defense, Gabriel Harris needs to be the focal point of
Yes.
the outside linebackers this weekend because
Yes.
just like I said with Elias Williams, and Gabe Harris has been on the team for a couple years.
Hmm.
I don't care if he doesn't know, okay, if the coach shoves his right thumb in his left ear on third down, I need to shift 3/4 of an inch to the right and hit the C.25 gap at this speed. I don't care. The kid's the best. The kid is the
Yeah.
absolute best athlete at the outside linebacker position. He was the
Sometimes the
closest
best way
thing.
to play football is just to run fast and hit somebody.
Thank you. And this is one of those situations I don't care. I don't. For the rest of the season, if you have one player on the defense that doesn't know the exact placement to the centimeter of every single player on every single defensive play, if that one player is Gabe Harris, I don't care
Yeah.
because he is the most explosive and the best player every single time he's on the field on third down. That's all I care about. He is the only guy that's shown a propensity to get to the quarterback doing his job. Because C.J. Allen and Chris Cole, they're inside linebackers. Their job is not to get to the quarterback. Gabe Harris, as an outside linebacker, edge rusher, whatever you want to call it, that is his job.
Mm-hmm.
He is good at his job. Quit saying you don't know the derivative placement of the third safety on the field and 4th and 27. You can't be on the field. Kirby, no one cares.
Yeah.
We want to see
The
an
dude runs
athlete make
fast and
plays.
hits people. Like, it's just
Right. And that's one of the things that I think Kirby constantly and Glenn Schumann and everybody else, I think it's something they overthink all the time. Like the fact that Jordan Davis, of all people, was a junior before he got significant playing time. Why? The fact that that the national media and the national college football fan base didn't know Jalen Walker until he was a junior. Why? Like, why does any of this matter? Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to the purpose of his position, he's the best on the team, and I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
And that's where we are with Gabe Harris. I hope that Gabe Harris comes out of this game with multiple sacks. Do I think that Georgia is going to get 10 sacks on Auburn like Oklahoma did? No.
No.
I don't think that's the purpose of this offense or this defense. And more importantly, I don't think the secondary can hold up that well.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you get these boys in a little bit of 3rd and long and tell those defensive backs, I need 4 seconds. And you put Gabe Harris on the field and let him pin his ears back, he's going to make sure that Jackson Arnold regrets trying to throw the football.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what matters in this game, because at the end of the day, I don't think Auburn is as talented offensively, whether it goes to the line, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, the tight end. I don't think they're as good defensively when it comes to defensive line. Outside of Keldrick Falk, I think he could play on any SEC team in the country and be a stud. I don't think they're as good defensive line, linebacker, edge rusher, defensive back, safety. I don't think Auburn's has as much talent. I don't think they have as much experience. I don't think they have as good of coaches. I don't think they have good as position coaches. I don't think they have as good as play callers. It's just a matter of what they do well, you suck at. You need to not suck for 60 minutes, and you need to be good at what you suck at for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I don't think this game is close.
And if there's one guy that I trust to make that happen, it's Kirby Smart.
There's as long as nobody on their sideline has that Dingleberry A,
Yeah.
They got that A with a Dingleberry on the sideline. It's over. I do not trust. Kirby Smart is a worse coach than Billy Napier when he's playing Alabama.
Very true.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't feel great about this game, but I don't want to talk about that, so I'm going to clip farm for a minute. Auburn is bad, y'all.
They are.
Georgia has gotten better throughout the year, and Auburn has gotten much worse throughout the year. Defensively, they're pretty good, but they are pretty easy to read, especially when they're in zone, which they are in a lot. Offensively, they've got nothing. Y'all think Mike Bobo's bad? Watch some Auburn offensive tape. They've legitimately done the same thing all year, and it stopped working a long time ago. We already mentioned you get strength on strength, weakness on weakness in this game, and that makes it very exciting, but it also means that I'm going to give a massive advantage to the team that's getting better over the team that isn't. So Georgia's going to beat Auburn because they're a better football team than Auburn. There's a lot I don't know. There are 3 things that I do know. I like driving in my truck. Auburn sucks. And if Auburn does, by some miracle, win this game, they'll be celebrating at Opalinka's classiest gentleman's club.
Wait, which one is that? I go through there. That's a joke, y'all. I am way too cheap.
Yeah,
I am
come
way
on.
too
Yeah,
cheap.
he's not going to go to the classiest one. Come on. All right. Now, if I can be serious for a bit, there were parts of that were sincere. I do think the fact that it's strength on strength, weakness on weakness, and Georgia's the team that's getting better does give them an advantage. That makes me feel better. The fact that we have started to see Elias Williams get some play again, makes me feel better. I don't know if you remember this, but Dylan Bell kind of had his breakout this past Saturday, but he was slowly working into the offense over the last couple of weeks before that Kentucky game. And then that Kentucky game happened, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this guy's really good at football." I think we've gotten a little taste of Elias Williams in this offense, as you already mentioned. This could very easily, especially like you mentioned with this Auburn defense that doesn't know what to do with tight ends, this could be a big breakout game for him. And I think right now he might be our best tight end. So I want to see that. Look for what Auburn's defense is going to do. So far, everybody's strategy against Georgia has either been to just drop back and let them get 6 yards of carry and march to a touchdown 6 yards at a time, which please do that, Auburn. Nothing like 2 8-minute drives to quiet the crowd down. Just so most of the time they've either done that or they'll do like Tennessee and play man-to-man to sell out the run, which did not go particularly well for Tennessee's defense.
Especially in the second half.
Especially in the second half. Everybody but Alabama has basically lost with trying those strategies. And Alabama alternated between the two, and it almost cost them if Talon Taylor could catch the ball. Hope you get better, but I'm still mad at you.
He's a freshman.
So,
he's
yeah.
a freshman. Give him a break.
Yeah, I know. And the man's hurt, so I'm not wishing that he would stay hurt. I'll just say it makes me feel better if he's not on the field right now. But I do want him to feel better and heal and become a better receiver. And he's young. I'm sure he will. So vibes are very much off. And I know last week I picked a couple of games based on the vibes, and I'm going to kind of go against that this week. Although I will say my vibes have gotten a little better as the week has gone on. But I am going to pick Georgia, regardless of the vibes, just because I think Georgia's the team that's getting better. If they're getting better as much as I think they are, then the game might not even be like a 1-score game. But it's also Jordan-Hare Stadium, and something about Space Jam Stadium just has the voodoo, especially at night. So I think that's the main reason I don't feel great about this game, is just because of the location and the time of day. But if you play better and out physical the other team, that stuff doesn't really matter.
Auburn is 0-8 in their last 8 games against the University of Georgia. Auburn has 3 head coaches in those last 8 games. So let's keep that streak going.
Yeah. Let's get another head coach on the list too.
Boy, that would just be so funny.
Mm-hmm. I think that I do think there is a chance that if Auburn gets blown out in this game at home at night on Cam Newton jersey retirement night.
Boy, they did do that, didn't they?
Yep. And Georgia is known in these situations for just kind of embarrassing teams that do those kinds of do the celebrity stuff.
Yep.
So man, that would be so satisfying if.
Well, they knew
they
couldn't do it against Vanderbilt, so.
Right.
Had to pick a game, different one. All right, you ready to get into best bets?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I will have to copy mine into the doc later because my article is up on Fans First about this. I spent a good amount of time writing it, but my first bet is Texas A&M minus 7.5 versus Florida. If this line is still available, hammer it.
I did see it just now as I was looking to finish mine off.
Is it 7.5 still?
Yeah, still 7.5.
That's insane. I didn't put money on it when I wrote the article. I will tonight. We've already gone through this game. I don't understand how Florida, with all those injuries and in College Station, is even that close.
Yeah.
I will say the next one. I got Arizona State plus 7.5. That is an alternate line at minus 157 odds at Utah. And I think a lot of this is just the national perspective on Arizona State versus the actual teams. Because Arizona State, Sam Leavitt has been insane this year, passing and running the football at quarterback. And Utah has only struggled against teams that have dynamic quarterbacks. They have really struggled at stopping the pass against really good passing attacks. They allowed 311 passing yards, 34 points to Texas Tech. And I think Arizona State is completely capable of doing that. The big reason that I don't have Arizona State straight up money line in this game is that they are gaining 4,000 feet of elevation from Tempe to Salt Lake, and I think that's going to be big late in the game. I think Arizona State blows a lead in this one to cover the 7.5,
Hmm.
but I think they go from winning to losing by less than a touchdown late in this one.
I could see that. That's a good bet.
Michigan at USC over 57.5. Taking any USC over is just a principal bet of mine, especially if it's under 60 points. But here's the thing. Michigan's traveling almost 2,000 miles to play this game. It is going to be a late game for them, an early game for USC. And if you just take the average of what USC is scoring and what USC is allowing, it's 58 points. So I'm always going to make this bet. Every time, I don't care. USC, because here's the thing. Michigan has a good enough offensive line and running game to score more than the average that USC allows. And Michigan also has a bad enough secondary that USC can score more than they normally do. So I'm absolutely taking this one. I will 8 days out of the week. Indiana at Oregon over 55.
Like that one.
This should be a great game. Both are in the top six in scoring offense, and while Indiana has a statistically elite defense, being seventh nationally against the pass and 17th nationally against the run, they're also 70th in strength of schedule. Illinois is the only team they have played with a pulse so far, and that's with 3 games against power competition. Neither team has really played anybody, but both teams have scored a ton of points week in, week out. And then if you go back to, do I think Indiana or Penn State has a better offense?
Yeah,
I'm going to say Indiana.
they have a quarterback who is actually good at playing football. So yeah,
And Penn State scored 34 points. So if a worse offense scores 34, and I think Oregon wins this game, so that means they have to score more than 34
it's
over
gonna go over.
55. And then the last bet that I have is it's more of just a laugher at Bill O'Brien because Clemson at Boston College over 54. I don't have any confidence in Dabo Swinney or Clemson after the atrocious start to the season. Um, but Bill O'Brien and Boston College have been one of the worst defenses in the country at the following things: scoring defense, 118th; passing defense, 85th; sacking the quarterback, 78th; making tackles for loss, 101st; and gaining turnovers, 118th. The only thing that Boston College does well on defense is stop the run. Clemson doesn't even try to do that anymore because they're so bad at it. They don't even try.
Yep.
Clemson has turned into an air raid offense. Like this is more. I have such little confidence in both defenses. I don't understand how it scores less than 54 points.
Yeah, Clemson put up 38 last week against a bad defense. I'm sure they can put up 35 this week.
Yeah, I don't. That's one of those lines that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Speaking of lines that don't make a lot of sense to me, to mine, I got Oklahoma plus 2.5. And y'all better hammer that if that's still available.
Whoa,
My
whoa, whoa!
goodness.
Caleb's barbershop. Are you sure? You
Right?
want to
Yeah.
call that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't say you should go hammer anything that I say.
I don't know if we
Come on.
talked about this on the podcast. Caleb's best bets. We're now calling Caleb's barbershop because he's just handing out fades.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Everything I say. I went 2-2 last week, and it was my best week in a while. Um. In that vein, this one might sound like a wild one. I've got Washington State plus 31.5 against Ole Miss.
It's
Now,
crazy how much that line's moved. It was 33.5 yesterday.
yeah, I would have taken it yesterday at 33 if I had seen it. But like this just comes down to having seen how many points Ole Miss has been giving up this season. And for the record, if you heard the I'm handing out fades thing and thought that I think these are bad bets, no, I think they're good bets, and I'm sticking to things that I legitimately think are good. Just not happening. So yeah, they did give up 35 points to Arkansas, 23 points to Kentucky. The rest of the year hasn't been quite as bad as I thought, but they haven't played another offense looking at you, LSU. Um, so I just think, Ole Miss might score 51 in this game, but I think Washington State could score 21, and that would be a cover. So that just seemed like something that made sense to me. Not one I'm super confident in, but I'm taking it. Oregon, I'm taking Oregon minus 7.5 at home against Indiana.
I would love an alternate line of 6.5. If you get the right odds on it.
Yeah, that would be a good one. But I do think Oregon wins this game by 2 scores.
Ooh.
I do. And that's not necessarily a knock at Indiana because I do think they've been performing well. I think they're much less fool's gold than they were last year. But I still think that the talent advantage and the home field advantage are going to power Oregon to win by a couple of scores here. And then TCU minus 1.5 at Kansas State. 1.5 is just too low a number for an actually pretty good TCU team against an absolutely abysmal Kansas State team.
The over at 55 is also not that bad of a bet because
Yeah.
TCU has a good offense and not much of a defense.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We will hopefully be able to call Mike out on some bets if he posts them in the outline before Saturday starts. But if y'all have the time, come hang out with us on Saturday night. It's going to be a ton of fun out at the Rock House for Pirates Fest and the Deep South's oldest rivalry. But if you can't do that, follow us on social media and know when the next watch party is. On Instagram, it's at nothing.finder.pod. On Twitter, it's at FinderPod. Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, just look us up and you can find us there. But most importantly, remember there's nothing finer in the land
Then a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan, yar.